Hello and welcome to day 7 of the challenge series. Today we will deal with some business problems that requires aggregations. So let us look at the first problem. So here the finance and the CRM team wants to know each customer's lifetime spend to drive loyalty tiers, targeted offers and churn prevention campaigns. So we need to find the total amount spent by each customer. So our approach here would be that from our ERD, we know the payment table contains the amount. So we would be requiring the payment table where we will apply the aggregate function. And then we have the customer table. So the payment table does not contain the customer details, but it contains the customer ID. So we will need to also do a join with the customer table and we will join it on the customer ID condition. Okay, so now let us look this into practice. Okay, so as we discussed in our approach, we will join both the tables, payment and the customer table. So we join the customer table and the payment table using inner join with customer C, and the condition on which we are joining is on the customer ID. So let us give the customer ID, and now let us look at the result first to identify which column we would be requiring. So we would require the amount column, the customer ID and the customer name. So let us take only those columns that are required. So let us take the customer ID from the payments table, and then let us take the first name and the last name. So we will use the concate function and we will concate the first name and the last name of the customer as the customer name. So we have to apply as customer underscore name. And what other column do we require is the amount column. Now let us first execute and see the output. So here if you see, we have the individual amount for each customer and we want the total amount. So we'll need to apply the aggregation function amount. And remember, whenever you apply the aggregation function, you need to group by those columns which are not in the aggregation function. So we'll need to group by, and we'll need to group by with the customer ID column that we have mentioned above, and we will also need to group by the customer name. So here the alias does not work in the group by, and therefore we need to apply the same function and concate them in the group by as well. Now let us give this an alias as total amount, and let us also order it by the customer name. So we order by, in order by we can use the alias for the function that we have given. Now let us execute this and see the result. So here is our final result, and we get the customer name and the total amount paid by them. Okay, let us now look at the another problem. So the business context over here is that the pricing team wants to understand the average rental price per film category to decide whether a certain genre are underpriced or overpriced compared to others. That means we need to find the average rental rate for film in each category, and we need to limit it to 2 decimal point. So the film table contains the rental rate, and we need to find the average rental rate for each category. So we will also need to join the category table, and that we will be joining using the film category table. So let us now look this into practice. Okay, so as we discussed in our approach, we will first join the tables. So we will first join the film table. We will use the inner join and we will join it with the film category table. And we join it on the condition of film ID, and let us also join the category table. So here is the table that we joined film with the category table. Let us see the outcome. So now we need the rental rate and we need the category name. So we'll use the category name and we give it an alias, and we want the rental rate. Let us first execute and see the result. So if you see, we have the category name, and for each category we have the rental rate, but this rental rate is not the average rental rate, because this is the rental rate for each film belonging to that category. So we need to apply the aggregate function average as average rental rate, and since we have applied the aggregate function, we would also need to group by the non-aggregated column. So we will group by with c dot name. So here if you see, now we have aggregated as well as grouped it. Let us execute this and see the result. So here if you see, for each category we have the average rental rate, but here we want to limit it to 2 decimal points. So we will use the round function and limit it with 2 decimal point. Now let us look at the result. So here if you see, we have used the round function, but it is still showing the trailing zeros. So in order to remove that, we use the cast function and we cast it as float. And now let us see the outcome. So here we get the category name and the average rental rate. So for each category we get the average rental rate. Okay, so here is today's tip for you. When using aggregates, make sure every non-aggregated column in the select list appears in the group by. Why it matters? Because we selected customer ID, first name and last name and computed the sum amount. Without grouping by those name or those fields, the SQL server would error. Grouping guarantees one row per customer with the correct total.